It was the morning of September 8th, 2022, and I was going for my National Service health checkup with my friends. We were sitting in the police headquarters, waiting for our health reports. I was trying to convince myself that it was not possible to fail a health test, but I reassured myself that I'll be the first to do it. As we were chatting about random bullshit, we saw this blonde man that seemed out of place. And I mean more out of place than three conspicuous teenagers having a cult meeting in the middle of the police headquarters. From my peripheral vision, I could see the blonde man was staring everyone down. And as I couldn't be bothered to deal with this, I took out a book and started reading. It was a body language book, but I'm pretty sure that I didn't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that this man was pissed. Everyone with more than single digit IQ was trying to avoid eye contact, while my friends decided it was a good time to have a staring contest. And just before this man could turn the three of us into past tense, the police came over and apprehended him. Well, not before he used his bare fist and slammed it into the backrest of one of the chairs, sending it flying. As we were walking back home, I told them how I found the whole situation rather hilarious. And it was at that point in time where we passed by a food court. I pointed out the seats with no backrest, and we all laughed. And now, that has sort of turned into our little internal joke. Even though this incident happened more than a year ago, I could recall almost every single detail. I could change the order of the story and it would still make sense. I could add a variable inside, like another crazy person, and still hypothesize how the situation may play out. I'm sure you have the same level of mastery of knowledge for your favorite show. Put your favorite character into any real life scenario, and you could already imagine what would happen. Put the character in an imaginary scenario, add a few different variables, and another story unfolds. And now, think, how many practice papers did you do? How many flashcards did you do to learn about your favorite character? Or how many times have you rewatched the same episode over and over again, like how you would rewatch lectures? But how many of us can say we have the same mastery of information, let's say in biology? How many of us can just add a few variables into our practice paper questions and still have any clue how the answer would turn out? I think it's clear that we should integrate the way we take in and use information for the things we like into the subjects where we are actually tested on. And what's the difference? We take in both types of information, and yet one stays and the other is thrown into the garbage. And the main difference is space interleaved retrieval. So, what is interleaving? Interleaving is basically looking at the same piece of information from different angles. It's like in basketball, where instead of practicing your free throws from one spot, you practice it from different angles. Maybe a step to the left, at a 2 point line, or at a 3 point line. We're looking at the same content we want to learn from different angles and perspectives. There will be a list of the different interleaving techniques linked below, but even personally, I find it too overwhelming. So I'll try to make things simple, where I'll just show you my plan. But do take note that the subjects I study are more declarative, rather than procedural like math and coding. But regardless, just copy my plan first if you're too lazy, and then change accordingly using the list given to suit your needs. So let's say after your pre-study and you have learned some content through reading your notes more in detail, watching a lecture, going through a course. Now what? At the end of the day, you will do same day interleave retrieval by doing a brain dump, whether it's the linear form or the mind map form. What a brain dump is essentially just writing out everything you know about the topic or everything you've learned and just spamming it. And after 3 days, your memory of the subject may fade away, and thus you need to refresh it by doing another interleaving session. An example would be teaching an imaginary student, whether it's simple relational, where you explain the different relationships between the concepts, or just isolated teaching, which is it's quite similar to a brain dump that's linear. But regardless, just do it. And a week from then, you may forget it again, or even before that. But regardless, when you feel your memory is kind of off for the stuff, you would do practice questions, preferably the extended method. But the TLDR is that it's doing practice questions, but instead of checking the answers directly. For the questions you are unsure about, you will go back to your notes, relearn the content, and then create your own answer key. After that, you will compare that answer key with the actual one, and by then it should be correct. And if it's not, this is the best time to consult your teachers. This way, you will sort of fix the little gaps in your knowledge that you would have missed when you check the answers directly. And you will also automatically revise the sections that you are weak at. And compared to doing the direct method, which is basically doing the questions, checking the answers directly, you will avoid the mistake of thinking that it was a silly mistake and cause you to not actually learn from that question that you have gotten wrong. And 2 weeks from now, to once again refresh your memory, you'll do another brain dump. You can do it linear on my map. And if you're not comfortable with any of these interleaving techniques, don't worry, there's so much more in the list. But as I said, this example is not exhaustive in any sense. And do try different methods that suit your needs better, whether it's declarative, procedural, or whatever. And remember, the only way you can do it wrong is by not trying.